Hey everyone, so Ang Lee's latest film, Gemini Man, is now in theaters. This being the latest Ang Lee movie, I was obviously excited, big fan of him. And this is a film that is about an over the hill hitman that faces off against a younger clone of himself. It stars Will Smith as both his older and younger self, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and of course, Clive Owen. It's a film that's also backed by Diane Beeben, the cinematographer, and Lauren Balfour's score, written by Billy Ray and, of course, David Benioff. It's a film I was very much so excited for. It's a film that when I saw the trailer, I was like, this could be good, especially given the cast and who's behind the lens, and, of course, the director. It's a film that I will say this right off the bat. There are a couple nifty action scenes, specifically the motorcycle chase. The motorcycle chase is really exciting. Reminded me a bit of Skyfall in a ways, especially with the way they shot it. And it was really good, except for like the last frame of that, which I'll get into the negatives. But the motorcycle chase scene was cool. I really liked the score by Lauren Balfe. It was really good. IMDb has a way of the way he shot the movie also, where it was interesting, especially with the higher frame rate. Like it was shot not on 24 frames per second, which is normally what they shoot on movies. I believe it was like 100 something. It was like 120. It was something crazy. But they shot it on that, and the theaters aren't equipped with that just yet. Like right now, if you were to watch the movie and don't live in Los Angeles or New York, you would experience it the same way I did, 24 frames per second. But it's still interesting that they're still playing around with that technology. Like it's in its early stages. So I'm curious to see how this is going to look 10 years from now when we do have that technology to be equipped with theaters. So it was interesting. Also, the cast, they're not giving that much, but I did enjoy the cast. I really enjoyed how Will Smith was doing another big blockbuster. It's been quite some time, since like Suicide Squad, where he's been in a blockbuster. So it's nice to see him back on screen because his presence is definitely felt. Like whenever Will Smith is on screen, you know it because he just has that charisma that I really liked. Other than that, though, other than like that stuff as well as like the score, it's just not a good movie. And let me just start right off with honestly some of the positives I even mentioned are a double-edged sword because they're also negatives. The first thing I'll say is, in fact, the camera work. Some of the camera work is good, some of it just really isn't. And I think it's a combination of, because of the frame rate that they utilized, mixed in with the de-aging effects, it doesn't always mesh well, and in fact, sometimes looks jarringly fake. There are plenty of scenes where there's examples of that. There are some scenes where it really works, but there are other scenes where it's very jarring and doesn't work. Also, the motorcycle scene, probably my favorite scene in the movie, but it's literally messed up by the last action thing that happens in that scene. You have such an exciting motorcycle chase, and then when that ends, literally you have Will Smith's younger self. I kid you not about this. Use his motorcycle to literally like sword fight essentially the other Will Smith. I'm not even kidding. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, oh my goodness. It's just mind blowing. And that's the thing. You have a couple nifty action scenes, and then you have other scenes that really aren't that well shot. And it's a shame because you have a veteran cinematographer who, again, he has some scenes that are really well utilized, and then there are other scenes that are, in fact, poorly shot, in my opinion. Like the action scenes, it's not like the Raid films in John Wick where it's wide-angle shots, but it's also not like the Bourne films where there's a sense of frenetic direction with the way that these shaky camera scenes are filmed. No, there's not really a sense of direction during these intense close-ups. You just have a sense of, okay, we are trying to save money by hiding the fact that if we shot this any other way, you'd be able to tell that it's not Will Smith fighting Will Smith. It is, in fact, Will Smith fighting a stunt double. And I didn't like that. Also, and I want to make this abundantly clear, I wanted to like this movie. I did. I really like Ang Lee, but the story, the writing, and the humor were really off. The story is very cliche. How they execute it is also cliche. The writing itself also, it had so much potential. You are dealing with cloning. Cloning is something that I feel like it's such an intense subject that I feel like you could bring a lot to the table. But because they didn't, they took the Star Wars 2 route where you're dealing with stuff that is potentially mind-blowing and is dealing with topical issues. And instead, you just have it where it's like, we're just using this as like a plot device and not anything that actually is going to worthwhile say in the world. And that's the thing, this movie didn't really have a voice. This is a movie that is essentially a demo reel for shooting on 124 frames per second. And it stinks that that's all it is. This is easily one of Ang Lee's weakest films, if not his weakest. I'm curious to see where I'm going to rank this, but it's a shame. Also, the ending is very silly. With the way they ended everything, it was kind of like, really? And it's backed up by Clive Owen. I like Clive Owen. I mentioned I like the cast, but again, double-edged sword. Because I like the cast, but at the same time, Clive Owen's character I felt like was so derivative. He's such a one-dimensional villain that I didn't really care what was going on, or really what any of the characters were going through. And it's a shame because it's Will Smith in the lead role. How can you not fully care about what's going on with his character? And that's the shame of it all. If you don't care about the characters, you don't care about the story, and even the technical aspects are very hit or miss, it stinks because essentially at the end of the day, you're watching a film that if it was food, is empty calories. I'm not going to remember this movie in a couple of days. And right now, that's why I'm trying to spoon it out now because it's again, I know I'm not going to remember this movie other than the fact that it was playing around with the aging effects and the way the frames were messing around. That's it though. This is a movie that is forgettable. You won't remember in a couple of days. And that's why for me personally, Gemini Man, I'll be giving it a 2 out of 5 star rating, which for those like a hot sauce rating, yeah, it doesn't get one. Gemini Man was very disappointing. I don't hate it the way a lot of people do. I'm just more disappointed in the fact that this movie was so conventional. It's funny because before this movie came out, I jokingly told my one friend, I was like, Ang Lee doing a Bruckheimer movie, I kind of feel like Bruckheimer kind of approached him and was like, you know what? I want you to do this movie because I've seen your work in doing action with Crouching Tiger. And Ang Lee was probably like, do I get to play around with technology? And they were like, yeah, sure. And Ang Lee was like, all right. He probably didn't even read the script because the guy's usually very choosy with his roles. So it is kind of a surprise. But I feel like that's how it went down. That's the only explanation I have to it. But guys, that's my thoughts on Gemini Man. Again, I wish I liked it more. Did you like Gemini Man though? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you have any questions about the plot itself, let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.